the final table. England will be back at Wembley in the round of 16 next Tuesday at 5 against the team that finishes second in Group F. It could be France, Germany or Portugal. Croatia moved up to second and they will play their next match on Monday at 5 in Copenhagen against the second place team in Group E, Spain, Slovakia, Poland or Sweden. And then the Czech Republic drop out of the top two, but they have definitely qualified as one of the best third placed sides. That means they're going to play a group winner, but that will be decided when all the groups are completed tomorrow night. Well, our live match tonight, we saw England defeat the Czech Republic, and Liam, is it fair to say they kind of lost their way in the second half, but they got the job done?
I thought they shut up shop. They've had 2 clean sheets prior to this match, and they managed another one, and they just sat back, got 10 men behind the ball, tried to attack when there was a counter on. I'd be worried that their possession play wasn't as good as some of the top class teams that we've seen. But all in all, it was a job well done, and I thought there was some very exciting stuff in the first half for England. So a deserved victory. Czech Republic kind of accepted their fate as well in the second half, and both teams petered out.
Didi, a job well done is how Liam described it?
Yeah, I don't think you can be too critical. They haven't conceded a goal in the 3 games. They did what they had to do. The tournament starts now. But as Liam said, I'd be worried about their possession, because if you look at the ease with some other nations create chances, the way they pass the ball, you've got to penetrate players, because if you don't penetrate, if you don't play the ball forward, you don't work the opposition. And if you look at the best teams so far, if you look at the Belgians, if you look at France, if you look at Italy, they do that. And you have to be able to control the game with the ball. You know, I think defensively they're solid. They haven't been under too much pressure. But with the ball, they're simply not good enough. And the second half, I don't think they had a shot on target. It was a hard watch. And I know they didn't have to score another goal because they were winning. Yeah, if they were to come up against Germany or France, I think it'll be tough for them.
OK, well, they're guaranteed a tough opponent in the round of 16. Croatia finished second in the group. Modric was fantastic, Perisic as well. We look at the goals from that game in due course. But let's go back to the first half of the England match. And we're going to look at the Raheem Sterling goal. And I suppose, as we mentioned at half-time, 2 of the newer faces in the England squad did their stuff.
Yeah, Saka beat the player 30 yards from goal. Then he drives for 40, 50 yards, gets the ball back, chips it, overhits it a little bit to the back post. Kane does well. He holds the ball up, gives it back to Grealish, and then he takes the play on, as he so often does. Ball takes a deflection. I don't think Sterling would have been able to score from there, but it's still a good cross. He tries to chip it onto the back post, takes a little deflection, and the easiest of finishes for Sterling, who's been a bit disappointing. He was very wasteful in possession, especially in the second half. But the goal was made by Saka, who started the move, and then the cross by Grealish, the 2 players who came in. And sometimes you have to be forced into making these decisions, because if Foden hadn't been booked in the first 2 games, if Mount hadn't need to isolate, we don't know whether he would have made them changes. And he's got a decision to make in the next game now, because these 2 lads haven't done themselves any harm for the next game. You know, I think it'll be very hard not to play them after the way they play tonight.
And would that be your instinct that he'll stick with both of them?
No, he won't.
Okay.
He won't.
All right.
It won't be my instinct. But we heard about Kane. Kane was disappointed again. He had a few good moves and maybe showed a little improvement. But he just looks laboured, and he's a very loyal manager. So Sterling will play. I think Foden is the up-and-coming player. I think he'll bring Foden back in. And then we need to see whether Mount can play. I think Foden will come back. Grealish will keep his place.
What do you think, Liam?
I don't know, to be honest, Dara. I don't know. Foden, as I said before, has had a great season for Manchester City, but he's playing in a better team than England. Whereas Saka didn't do himself any harm tonight. You can go past people. We haven't seen that from Foden this tournament so far. I thought Saka really gave himself a chance of getting his first team place going forward.
Yeah, but let's have a look at himself, and there's a little bit of Jack Grealish in here as well, of Saka and Grealish, and how they performed tonight.
Yeah, well, they're both comfortable on the ball, receiving the ball. Saka's probably the quicker of the two. He's tried to pick out Sterling there. He's not frightened right or left foot. Very good in tight spaces, and also very intelligent with his passing. That's him to Grealish, who drives forward. England make a good move here, get round the back, and Luke Shaw doesn't get the cross he wanted. But here's Saka again, saying, okay, come on, give it to me. Loves these situations, one-on-one. And I think Harry Kane should have got across the defender there. He should have been in front of the Czech defender there, but he wasn't. I thought that was a good ball from Saka. There he goes again, pace, power. This is the goal, actually. And watch Saka after he crosses this, Dara, okay? He doesn't stay out there admiring his good work. He gets across now, and he makes the space for Sterling to score this goal. He takes the two Czech Republic players with him, and Sterling has a free header at the far post. Good user of the ball, you know, picks out Harry Kane there. And in this, he tracked back. He's very, very conscious of his team duties. He gets back. This is where he's really good. Quick turning, away he goes. And I haven't seen Foden do that this tournament so far. So Southgate really has a big decision to make. I would pick him on what I've seen tonight.
I will probably pick him too, but I don't think he will. But what we've seen here, the 4 or 5 situation where he's got a man right behind him and he receives the ball with the back to goal. We haven't seen many players in this tournament who get out of these situations as easily as he does, because there were 4 or 5 and you think, oh my God, he's stuck here. Another one comes from the front, you know, he gets doubled up and then it becomes very hard for him. But with ease, he just dropped the shoulder, he went this way, he went that way. And he's such quick feet. You know, he got out of these situations, and you thought he was never in trouble to lose a ball. He was really impressive. And for a 19-year-old lad who plays the first game in a tournament, I couldn't have been more impressed with him.
What about Harry Kane? Southgate left him on for the full 90 minutes, I'm sure, in the hope that he'd get a goal that would just change the whole thing for him.
I thought he linked up play better today. Okay, this was him showing that he's confident. He had a shot from way out, from distance. But I thought he linked up the play well. He got turned. Here he is now. Look, that's where he looks sluggish. He doesn't have that spark, but he holds on to the ball well, brings players in. He dropped very deep at times, Dara. This was his best moment in the match. This was what Kane can do, and that was a great save from the Czech goalkeeper. Linking up play again, very clever ball for Saka inside the full back. So I thought he was much more involved tonight than he has been in the first 2 games. A better performance, but not back to his best.
Liam, to use that, you've just used the word sluggish about him, and Didi, you said similar earlier on. Like with the strength of opponent that they're going to face in the last 16, can Southgate afford to have a player in his team who is sluggish at times? That's a huge call for him.
Well, it's between him or Calvert-Lewin, and I think Harry Kane is a better all-round player, so he'll stick with Kane no matter what. I think he's shown that up to now. I think he demonstrated that to the press, because he named Kane in the team practically 3 days ago, Dara. You know, it's very unusual for a manager to back his player that way, so he's going with him going forward.
Yeah, so
and I thought it was an improvement on his performances.
Okay.
So Kane's got something to build on now.
I'm sure Didi Southgate will say, look, we got the job done. We topped the group. OK, we're going to face a serious opponent in the next round. They still haven't conceded a goal in the competition. For the likes of France, Germany, Portugal, how much of an improvement do England need to show to be able to beat one of those teams in the last 16?
Well, I think they have to improve hugely. Having said that, if they were to play Germany, France or Portugal, which, well, there's a chance they play Hungary as well.
Of course, yeah, apologies, Hungarian fans.
But I think it'll suit them better, because against the 3 teams they faced in their group, they had to make the game. They had to be proactive. I don't think it's their game. I think they like to sit back. They like to play on the counter-attack. I think it'll suit them. And also, when it comes to Kane, I think he'll play him again. I think it's a big call to play him or to drop him, regardless what he do, because he's the captain of the team. but it just doesn't look right, you know. And I think Rashford could play there. You could bring Calvert-Lewin in. I think it'll suit him better, the teams they do play, but they do have to improve on the ball. And then it would be interesting to see who he plays in the centre of midfield. You know, he played with Phillips and Rice again. Henderson came on in the second half. He ended the game with 3 holding midfielders, with Bellingham came on as well. I think it'll suit him, but I think they need to improve an awful lot.
I think that's where England's problem lie, with Rice and Phillips in the middle of the park. They're very similar, and they don't get turned, and they don't play quick enough into the front players.
Okay, very good for the moment. Thanks as always. A story, as we know well by now, with England.